Please remember, none of the information within this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Always consult your own personal GP and healthcare team before starting or changing any medical treatment. Welcome to The Dose with Paddy and Belinda, your regular dose of all things GLP1 from Ozempic to Mounjaro and everything in between. So why not get cozy and enjoy the conversation? This episode is a recording of a live stream that happened on Thursday, 17th of October 2024.
And good evening, folks. I see we have a good few people coming in already. Lovely to see you all. We have a good few people in there. And so we do. It is lovely to see everybody. So we are doing our live tonight. We have a number of topics that we are going to cover. And there is some Q&As that we've got as well that we're going to go through. And you're welcome to, if you could hold off on the questions for the moment until we get to the question part, it'll just help us keep on top of them. Or there is a question function. If you look at the bottom, there's like a little question mark. You can put your questions in there, and that should make it much easier for me to get on them as well. Or at least I think that's what it looks like on your screen, is the little question mark, if you can do that. And yeah, it'll just really help. Belinda, what's the crack? How have we been since we last spoke?
All good. It's been a whole week, if you can believe that.
Oh, more than a week. Wasn't it Tuesday last week?
Oh, it was Thursday, was it?
Was it?
Oh, Paddy, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
When you're in your 40s, the day is all day.
Nothing matters. So how was your week? Tell me about your week, Paddy.
Week has been good. This week so far hasn't been as busy as last week, thank God. Last week was really busy. So this week hasn't been as busy, which is good. But some really good training sessions at the gym. I was in the gym this evening, put up one of my videos earlier, or my coach shared it and I just reshared it. Doing some deadlifts, got a new kind of best on a deadlift, which was like 135 kilos. Actually, that's heavier than me now.
That's mad. God.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a lot, Paddy.
I only actually really just realised that I've lifted more than I weigh. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
How many times do you go to the gym every week?
So at least 3. So I've got 3 strength-based days that I do every week, and then if I do other stuff around that.
Yeah. Cool. That's good. Good. And all of that, as well as working and doing this and doing podcasts and doing radio.
Yeah. I tell you, it keeps me busy because I have a full-time job during the day, then I have a part-time job doing radio. Then obviously we kicked off the podcast stuff last week.
Now as well.
Yeah, like the podcast, for anyone that is on here that doesn't know about the podcast. So we had done the live stream last week. And the next day I was thinking of, because I wanted to do a podcast for so long.
But you have done though.
I've done a few bits years ago, but not proper. And then I thought, I was like, I wonder would Belinda be interested in doing a podcast? But then what happened? Belinda messaged me, Paddy, I think we should do a podcast. And I was like,
right.
Yeah. And I was like,
great minds.
Freaky, great minds.
Yeah.
So basically what we did for the live stream of last week, and we'll do the same this week, we turned it into a podcast. We are going to have standalone podcast episodes as well. It's not just going to be the live streams. And the podcast, when we get the time. Yeah. The podcast is called
The Dose.
The Dose. And we also have
the microdose.
The microdose. And stay tuned for
you go.
The double dose. So we are totally making the most of the dose and what we can do with that.
Yeah. We're really rinsing it dry, aren't we?
Yeah, no, totally. But I couldn't believe it. Then over the next few days, I was going to say to you initially, I'd love if we broke into the top 200, health and fitness. That's right in my mind.
Talk about what happened then.
In my mind, I was thinking, top 200, that would be brilliant. Then I checked, and I think we were number 70, and I messaged you and said,
Yeah, 70 or 77. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I went to like 40 or something. And then I went to like 30, and then I went to 20. And then I think the number that I'm aware that we peaked at was number 17.
Have
in
you
the
checked today?
Yeah, today it's gone back down again, which
Okay.
is normal enough.
Yeah.
So I think we were like 30 something or 40 something today. But during the week we peaked at number 17 in all of the health and fitness podcasts in Ireland.
Isn't that absolutely crazy?
Like,
And there's only one podcast on there. Do you know what I mean? It's not as if
yeah,
you've got all this content.
yeah, it's mad.
Yeah. But
Mad.
you know what I think? Do you know what I think, Paddy? Why that's happening is, and other people will probably agree with me too, is everybody wants to know about Ozempic and Mounjaro. Nobody's talking
Yeah.
about it. Nobody's coming out and saying, I'm on it. Let me tell you about it. You know, so I think that's why. And I think as it grows, it'll really
Yeah.
take off, I think, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, so thank you to everybody that listened to it. If you haven't heard it, at least go and check out the microdose. The microdose is literally a 5-minute segment.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant.
It's
All
like
Paddy's hard work.
no,
All I'm doing is sitting here talking.
no, joint effort.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the microdose is literally a 5-minute snippet off the podcast or off the broadcast. So like this broadcast, I'll put up as a podcast as well.
Yeah.
And then do like the microdose, which would be a 5-minute snippet off it. Now, one thing we learned of last week before we kick off is we got kicked off at 10 o'clock last week. And we did get onto Instagram to be like, hey, why did our live end after an hour? And they're like, oh, we don't know. It must be a bug because you should have 4 hours. So tonight we're going to work on the basis that it may end at like a minute to 10 or something like that, okay?
Yeah.
But if it so happens that we're still going and we don't get kicked off, we're all good. But we're going to work on the basis that we're going to wrap up at 10, okay? Or a minute or two before 10, just to be on the safe side.
Just on the safe side, yeah.
And Belinda, your week, what's been going on?
This week I managed to get all of my activities in. I done 3 Pilates and I done 3 aqua aerobics, and my car broke down and my oven broke down. And
Oh God,
I know.
Coming threes.
I know. And between, like, the thing is with my car, I spend. You'll notice if you've seen my grid on Instagram, I'm always in my car. I call it the Car Chronicles because I live in my car. I have kids that I'm shipping around morning, noon, and night. But I did have a personal best today.
Ooh.
So I've been practicing Pilates for nearly 2 years, and I know this probably sounds nothing to anyone, but I did a side plank for a long time. I've never done a proper side plank before. Always tried or done a small one or whatever, but I'm delighted with myself.
That is phenomenal, and that goes to show obviously your core strength is improving. Like,
it's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah.
Amazing. And a good example for people that obviously one thing you want to do is like be improving your strength in that, and there's something that you can do that doesn't mean you have to be in, say, like my version of things in trying to lift really heavy weights. You do something that works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Let me I don't think my microphone is on. One minute.
I'll just scroll through and see who we have here so far and say hello to people.
Do I sound a bit better now?
I'd say sound the same.
Okay.
Coco Jess, hello to you. Mary Kennedy, hello, how are you? Vivian, hi guys, hello. Nicola, hi, I'm new to this. Hello, Nicola. Viking Princess, evening from Florida. Oh, I love Florida.
Ooh.
I go to Orlando more than I should, but I love Orlando.
Love it.
And I hope whatever part of Florida you're in, that you were okay through the weather. Cause, got some.
Yeah, never seen nothing like it. Yeah.
Okay.
We do have questions that were sent in during the week, Paddy, don't we, as well? Yeah.
Cool. So do you want to, so basically folks, what we're going to do is we have questions that were sent in during the week. We have our top 5 tips that we said we're going to go through tonight. Thanks, Dee. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the top 5 tips kind of for success. If you were thinking about starting out on a journey that is from Mounjaro, Ozempic, stuff like that, then these are what the top 5 tips are going to be for. And then we'll get into the Q&A and kind of see where we are time-wise there, okay? Yeah. So Belinda, I'll hand over to you, so.
Okay, top 5 tips. So I think the most important one to me is comparison, and I spoke to some of my girls today about it as well. The thing is, when you're on social media and you're on your GLP-1 journey and your feed gets flooded, absolutely flooded with all of these accounts, and like there's a lot of American accounts over there, and there's so many people that are like, oh, I've lost 200 pounds, I've lost 150 pounds. No, that's not everyone's story. That's actually quite rare. And if you go onto social media and you're having your own journey and you're delighted trotting along on your own and doing your own thing, and then you see that, you just get disheartened, don't you? And you don't have a choice. It will happen. You'll just compare yourselves to other people. But every single physical body is different. Everybody has started at a different point. Everybody has different resources. Everybody has different amount of time to put into things. So if you continue to compare yourself to other people, it's going to rip the joy out of all of your journey. It's going to rip the joy out of all of your milestones, out of all of your non-scale victories, if you compare yourself to others. So my advice is, and it took Paddy, it's easier said than done, don't do that. It took me an awful long time, stay in my own lane, focus on my own thing, and mind my own business. And that's it.
Isn't there a saying, is it something along the lines of, is it comparison?
Is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And I live my life by that now.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. And like, it is so easy, because I even see it, like, I'd have a lot more engagement on TikTok than I would on Instagram. But I see the comments like of people who are heartbroken because they haven't lost 5 pounds in week 1 like other people.
Yeah.
And it's we just want to reach out and give them a hug, like, and be like, no, this is your journey. Your biology is different, Stay
in your own lane.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself and make sure that you celebrate every single non-scale victory.
Yeah.
And take, especially for the girls that are starting out, take note of the small things. That's where you'll find the joy.
Yeah. And this kind of leads into tip number 2, which I was going to say is, what is success to you as an individual when you're starting out on a journey? Don't let the main success be the number that is on the scales. For the way I think about that is that the number on the scales is almost like a side effect of everything else. It shouldn't be the main show. It should be the side act that's kind of going along there. Like, for me, if I look at, like, if anyone has seen me talk before on TikTok or on here, I love spreadsheets, right? And I have a spreadsheet going since kind of day 1 of when I started this journey. And I have so much data in there. Now, I do keep a trend of my weight, but that is not the most important thing. And I touched on this last week, because I had about 5 weeks whereby my weight was kind of staying the same and not really doing much for me. But then I got my trusty measuring tape, and I could not believe that my tummy area had gone down. I think it was something like, I don't know, was it 8 centimeters during that period?
Wow. With no scale, nothing on the scales to show.
Even though the scales were staying the same. Yeah. So if you're on this journey and you have not yet taken your measurements, or you're thinking about starting any type of fat loss journey, regardless if it's medicated or not, do yourself a favor. That kind of week 1, or as soon as you can, if you've already started, do it tomorrow, do it the weekend, do it as soon as you can. Do your measurements and get your pictures as well, because that's the other thing. My biggest
regret was not taking my measurements when I started.
Yeah. But so really thinking about the kind of second tip from us is, define for yourself what is success. Not the scales. What is success? Is it that you can go up the stairs now without getting out of breath? Is it that you are able to actually go out and play with the kids for like 10 minutes and feel that you're able to keep up with them? Is it that you're sleeping better? That's one of my massive, I cannot believe how good my sleep is now. And that's not even something I had factored in.
Yeah.
And it's just...
You just wouldn't think of it, though. It wouldn't occur to you.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
So really think about, what does success mean to you? And not the number on the scales, but in terms of quality of life.
Yeah.
What does
What
success
do
mean
you
to you?
want to see for
Yeah,
yourself? As
exactly.
in, not in your physical being.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, what
Like,
else do you picture for
like,
yourself?
like if you were to think like a year in the
Yeah.
future, what would life look like and feel like for you in relation to your overall health?
Yeah.
You know, and think of
And
those things.
yeah, and that leads into my next one then as well, is about your mindset. That's my kind of tip as well. I heard somebody speak about it the other day, actually, and I could just give you an example. So I bought a skirt last year to wear. It absolutely wouldn't fit me, didn't fit me. And this skirt hung in my wardrobe and absolutely haunted me. So I wrapped it up in a bowl and threw it in the bottom of the cupboard. And I heard this person talking, and they said, you should, if you're saying like, that skirt doesn't fit me, I hate this, and I'm just so peed off about it, you have to change that, and you have to say, that skirt doesn't fit me yet. And
Yeah,
that's the mindset. It's yet.
yeah.
I can't believe I can't do a side plank. Everyone else around me is doing a side plank. I can't do it yet, but I did it today.
I have a size 8 LBD that I'll get into one of these days.
Have to have pictures.
There's other websites for that. Oh
I love
gosh.
that for you, Paddy.
Yeah, I'm joking. I don't have the legs. Although someone commented on one of my pictures today. Look at your legs. I was like, oh, that's funny.
I'll take it. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
yeah.
it. A
Paddy,
compliment's a
also getting
compliment.
at this stage.
A compliment's a compliment.
Yeah.
Somebody just put in there while we were talking in relation to what does success look like for you. Walking 10 minutes to the station without being out of breath. Love it. What a positive kind of thing that isn't a number. I love that. I
Yeah.
absolutely love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Etna, is it? I hope I'm pronouncing EITH. Is that
Yeah.
Etna? Yeah. The power of the word "yet" is immense. It gives hope. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. And this is where I think tying in with your own a little bit as well. Something that I have found in those periods of time whereby if your mind maybe isn't playing ball with you, the power of getting a copybook or a page or a journal and just writing what is the things that's in your head, and when you put it on paper, I think it's so powerful to look at the words and think, am I being compassionate to myself here with these thoughts? And I just think it can really help to change the dynamic of when you actually see the words. Would you go and say those types of things to your best friend? Because you should be
Oh
your
my
own best friend.
goodness. Absolutely. Absolutely. The things we say in our own head, it's just terrible. You would never even say them out loud.
Yeah.
Somebody would think you were mental, and you certainly wouldn't say it to your
Yeah.
partner, your child, your friend, but we say
Yeah.
it to ourselves all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll move on to tip number 4. And folks, just remember, if you want to pop a question, there should be a question function, I think, on the bottom of the screen somewhere. And if you want to pop your questions in there, we will be getting to those as well. If there is any, we do have some from during the week as well. But it'll just help us to get them in rather than trying to get them from the
We want
feed.
to answer as many as we can.
Yeah. Or the other thing that we did last week, actually, which worked quite well, was if you want to DM me your question, you can DM me your question, and I won't read out your name. It'll just be an anonymous thing that we'll kind of read out. Okay, so that's another way that you can get us your questions, is to just drop me a DM. Love that. We say positive things to our friends and sisters and be less positive to ourselves. Yeah, and it's that thing of we're our own worst enemy at times, like you know.
Yeah.
So my one in terms of, I guess, that kind of idea of mindset, one of the things that I found, I think more so last year than this year, was the negative effect that following some people online had on me. So I would have been very much the type that I love social media. I love following people on social media. I love looking at their content, seeing what they're doing, what advice are they giving. But it's so important to keep in mind, and this goes from, even when you're sitting here listening to myself and Belinda as well, we are not doctors. 99.9999% of the people that you are going to be looking at online are not medical professionals. So when you hear them saying, do this, do that, do the other, just make sure that you're being safe with yourself, you're being fair in yourself, that you are, you know, thinking, is that aligned with maybe what your own doctor might say or what your dietitian might say, or you know, something like that. Because I think sometimes the internet gurus can, and that's what I've written as internet gurus, sometimes a little bit of ego can come in there, and sometimes that can kind of skew the advice or the guidance, or I guess the remembering what this journey is about for us and
Yeah.
for the people that engage with our content.
Yeah,
um
and also it's just about if you are looking at all that online and stuff, just take what you need
yeah,
and leave the rest. You don't
yeah,
have to listen to everything, and you don't have to believe everything either, because everything online is curated. Every single
absolutely.
thing. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think this is the thing, like, for example, things like before and after pictures. Some
Mm.
people can
Oh,
find them
yeah.
hugely motivating, and they will be like, I want my feed to be just before and afters. Whereas other people I know, that is the worst thing that they can see when they go online. But yet, it's almost like an addictive thing to follow people, and then you see all this content, but then that can make you sit there and be like, oh my
God.
God,
Yeah,
that's such a
yeah,
transformation. I'll never achieve
yeah,
that. So it's so important that the content that you are engaging with online is supportive of your journey, particularly from a positive mental health perspective.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And the thing is, as well, if you look at too much of that stuff, you will be shown too much of that stuff. You know, so if you don't like it, don't
Yeah.
comment, don't watch it for
Yeah.
too long, don't interact with it, just
Yeah.
leave it and move on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Belinda, tip number 5. Over to you again.
So I think I'm really passionate about this one, Paddy, because it is literally the first time in history that we have been able to have a medication that's going to work
Yeah.
and it's going to help us. And there are so many people out there that are going to benefit from this medication. I really, really, really think that it should be a preventative measure
Mm,
rather than a cure. So what can we do? What can we do? The only thing that we can do for ourselves is to advocate for ourselves. Pull up your socks, go into your doctor, tell him where you stand, tell him what you need, and if you can't, shouldn't say this really, but there are other ways. There are other ways to get this medication
yeah.
properly and under good supervision and in a holistic manner. You know, just you really have to advocate for yourselves. It's your, like, if you're sitting at home and you're watching this and you think, oh my God, I would just love to do that and I need that in my life so much. Get up, go into your doctor and advocate for yourself. You
Yeah.
have to and you must. Yeah,
Yeah.
you really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, even like, in terms of during the week, I had somebody that was on to me. They're like, I'm preparing for an appointment with my doctor. What advice would you give me? And I was like, look,
Yeah.
it's very likely you are going to know more than your doctor, particularly around Mounjaro.
Yes.
You're probably going to know more than your doctor about Mounjaro. So you need to think about what concerns or what kind of challenges might your doctor bring up. One incorrect one, as we know, that regularly comes up is that, oh, it's not licensed in Ireland. It is licensed in Ireland. It is licensed in all of the EU. So get that information, have it printed or have a link to it somewhere that you can show your doctor. Mounjaro is licensed for the Republic of Ireland. The reason why your doctor won't find it or probably won't heard about it is that
Not wrong.
Eli Lilly that make it simply have not released it here yet.
Mm.
That's the only reason why it's not here. But absolutely you can. And then, what I'd say is, well, don't just go in and say, oh, I want Mounjaro. Show that you've done your research, because, there could be a valid reason why Ozempic could be better. There could be a valid reason why Saxenda or Mysimbe or some of those could be better. So go, have your research done, what the various options are, present those to your doctor, and then
Go
kind of
from
say
there.
which one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you're showing that you've done your research.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it,
Yeah,
isn't it? Just know what you're talking about when you go in, because I can nearly guarantee you that they
yeah,
won't.
yeah.
Paddy, I went into my own doctor last week and asked for Mounjaro and explained to them that I had been, what my journey has been, and that I'm on it. It's my third GLP1 medication that I've tried in 2 years. Brick wall. Brick wall. I even said to them, like, you actually can write a physical prescription for that. Ooh.
Yeah.
no. I knew I was at nothing,
Yeah,
like absolutely nothing. But I tried it,
yeah,
you know. But that's not like, there are brilliant doctors out there, and I've
yeah.
had so many girls message me and say my doctor is so supportive. I'm so lucky. I know how lucky I am. They are out there.
They are, and I think that's what when Belinda mentioned earlier. Like, don't if you had another medical condition and you weren't happy with what the doctor advised you, either maybe because of their area of expertise or lack of, or their
Yeah.
side of insight, you'd go and get a second opinion.
Mm.
So just what I think everybody should be entitled to go and get a second opinion off a different doctor or a different care provider, if it's something that you're feeling your doctor is not being supportive, particularly if you've gotten the courage to go and advocate for yourself, and then
That's
you're met with
hard.
that brick wall.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's because of the stigma, obviously, around obesity and the amount of people that actually think that it's. I got a message yesterday saying that it is a choice,
Yeah.
and that it is a lifestyle choice, and like that rhetoric, I don't think will ever leave us.
And that you're a criminal.
Yes. Oh my God.
Somebody called Belinda a criminal during the week.
You know, and I got so many messages saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe it, Belinda, that's terrible." Well, I don't care. My engagement's up.
Yeah.
She's all over my
Yeah.
feeds. She's all over everything.
Yeah. So Lou has said there, GPs want you to do your research. It's your journey. They want you to be the biggest part of your journey. I fully align with that. And I'm sure Belinda's him, I spent so long researching this medication before fully deciding that yes, this is a path I want to explore.
Yeah.
Rebecca, any idea when Eli Lilly will release it in Ireland? So, no. It's the short answer. I have emailed them a number of times. I have chased them. They do respond to me, in fairness. But as of now, no. There is no timeline for when it's going to be available in the Republic of Ireland yet.
Yeah.
I'd say I'll chase them up again sometime before Christmas, just to see if there's any further update. But right now, no.
2025 even.
Yeah, there's no update on that. So that we've covered 5 tips there, but I'm going to throw in one final one, and because this is something that I'm probably going to throw in multiple times over these live streams and whenever we do a podcast, is that to remember, this is not a diet.
Oh, yeah.
This is medical treatment for a chronic disease of obesity. So we have lived with the diet mindset, a lot of us, pretty much all our life. And we think, oh, I have to do this, and I have to starve myself or eat as little as I can to try and lose the weight quicker. It's not going to work like that for you. Please don't be starving yourself. If you're hungry, physically hungry,
Yeah.
Eat. It's so important. It is so important. And actually, when I talked at the start about how I had a period of time whereby my weight was kind of up and down, I had one weekend then where I ate, I'm going to say considerably more, but it wouldn't have been to excess, if you get me. Like, I didn't sit there picking out or binging or anything like that, but I was aware my intake of food this weekend has been higher. Within the week after that, I dropped over 5 pounds.
Were you like nearly?
Yeah.
Was your food way down because your hunger was suppressed a lot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like it was
very common.
Yeah. So like,
common.
But anyway, please don't think of this as a diet.
Yeah, and Paddy, can I just while you're on that as well, we had a really good question actually. How do you both get dopamine hit? Did you write that one in? Yeah.
So
given that the food is a lesser part of your lives, and that is a brilliant question. It's really, really good. I don't know who sent it in now, but I've said this before as well. Sometimes it can get a bit boring, and sometimes, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but you actually, I didn't know what this feeling was when I got it, and it's only recently that I've been talking about it. You almost go into a little phase of mourning for the dopamine hit you would have gotten if you were an overeater, an emotional eater, a binge eater, whatever, when you used to get all of your joy, most of your joy from food, and then bang, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. That's hard. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
What do you think, Paddy?
I think for me, like it's kind of, it's been an interesting one because I have found that I'm almost finding joy in food. that I previously didn't have. So like I touched on this last week that I am
Is that because you're not overly cautious of what you're eating now, and you know that you're eating
I th-
well?
I think it's because I'm getting to taste it more,
Mm,
because I'm eating slower.
yeah,
Like
you're scoffing it down your neck.
like uh, like I was eating a salad the other day, and I know I've mentioned salads a few times in different videos, but like for me, like a salad's a salad. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, but I was eating it, and just it was like, this is going to sound pure cheese, but it's the truth. It was like flavor fireworks just going off in my mouth.
yeah,
So for
and you do
me,
that. That does come, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I I I don't feel that I'm missing out on any of the food that I would have had before. I think there's some of the food I'm just not interested in. Like even still, I'll go and open the cupboard and there's bars of chocolate in there, and I know they're there, but I'm not thinking about them. And even when I open it, I'm like,
Yeah,
but
but you know what the difference is as well, Paddy, is that if you did pick up that bar of chocolate, unlike previously, now you can put it down again.
100%, 100%. And I tested myself on that because there was a bar open in the fridge, and I was taking like a square or two squares, and then I was thinking, okay, let me sit with this now. How do
Yeah.
I feel having had that? And I was like, I don't actually feel like I want more of it.
Mhm.
I'm
And that's
grand.
what you
Like,
have to do. That's really important, to check in with
yeah,
yourself as well, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's another
Um,
one here as well. Hang on.
mm,
Um,
yeah. The question was a typical
typical day
day
of
of
food.
food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. Like this was a question that was sent in earlier, and it kind of triggered another thing in my mind about food and stuff like that. So I think what myself and Belinda are going to do is actually do a full dedicated,
Lovely.
maybe live stream or
Mhm.
podcast all about food. And maybe like some of our go-to foods, what a typical day might look like, maybe what challenges we're still having in food, because food in itself is such a massive, massive topic.
Mm.
But like as a quick high level thing for myself, my mindset, and again I've probably mentioned this before, is that when I go to eat at any time throughout the day, I will default to, is there protein in this? Is there fiber in this? And it's
I do now. I
as
never have
simple as
done in
that.
my life.
Yeah, simple
Never
as that.
ever. Yeah. And again, all those years sitting in those slimming rooms and stuff, never thought. I was never given any education around it.
Yeah,
Now that might not be true for everybody, but that's the way I was,
yeah,
you know. But also around food as well. Like my food intake in the day is pretty boring.
yeah.
I tend to, it really is like,
But
all I'm thinking about is fiber and protein. And not because I'm obsessed, because I know that I need it and I know what it's going to do for me
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Um, but you're loving your super value protein yogurts at the
Oh
moment.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're like 3 for €3. They're so nice. And I hate protein yogurts, but these
yeah,
ones are really nice. Yeah.
yeah,
I never stop banging on about pro or fiber either,
yeah.
Paddy.
I know,
People must be so sick of
but
me.
it's so important. It's so
Oh,
important.
shall I read out a question or two,
Yeah,
Paddy?
go for the questions. And folks, if you have questions, feel free to put them, I say, in the question box, ideally. But if you can't figure that out, just pop them in the chat now and we'll
Yeah.
get to them. So,
We
go.
touched on this first one last week as well. This lady says that I'm afraid to start due to the side effects. Again, there's so much scaremongering out there around side effects. Not everybody gets them, and some people do. But you can spend your whole time on your GLP-1 journey with absolutely no side effects at all. So don't worry about that. Just start. You will thank yourself later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like as I said, I've been somebody that since the start of my journey, I have had minimal side
Yeah.
effects, like minimal, like nothing. I've had no side effect that has disrupted my quality of life day
Yeah.
to
Or
day.
that you couldn't go on with your day or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another lady, she said, I am 54 years old. Am I too old to start? Hell no. Girl, you go out there, you advocate for yourself, and you get that. You get
Yes.
it. And if you are 54 and you are on HRT and you pop in a little bit of Ozempic into there, you'll feel about 25.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Fab.
think, I thought I saw that again, maybe it's down to prescriber or maybe, but I thought it was something in the 70s, like 74 or something like that, or 75 might have been the upper limit for when they might look to not prescribe it. But I
Right.
think, yeah, I saw it on something over the past week. I saw an age, and it was something in the 70s. But again, that's where probably your doctor or your pharmacist will kind of work with you to kind of look at
Yeah.
the bigger picture of life and health
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm with Beyond BMI on Ozempic and have plateaued, still more weight to lose, and considering Mounjaro. So, Belinda, this is speaking to your chapter.
Yeah, because I am also with Beyond BMI, and I started out on Ozempic. I plateaued for a really long time, and until I met Paddy, I didn't realize that I could go in there and ask for Mounjaro. And the minute I stood up, went in, asked for Mounjaro, they gave it to me.
Yeah, again, it comes back to advocating for yourself.
Yeah. But we don't know until we know.
Yeah.
So do it. Absolutely do it. Yeah.
Someone's asking, hi, are there customs charges for posting Mounjaro to Southern Ireland?
Same island, no customs charges.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there a GLP-1 that has less? Oh, this is an interesting one. Is there a GLP-1 that has less hair loss side effects? I have a little hair, so I'm concerned. Now, I could talk to this a little bit from probably we'll see. You might have a different perspective. So, the reason why people will typically see hair loss when they're on a fat loss journey, not just GLP-1, is because their protein intake is usually not high enough. So if you see somebody that is saying that they're losing hair, the very first indicator for me will be, are you getting enough protein in?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything different there, Belinda, or if that's anything.
I don't know. No.
Yeah. And again, not a side effect you've experienced either.
No, never. No. I don't know anyone that has.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And again, I think it comes down to, again, what we were saying before, like the internet gurus and the stuff you see online sometimes, it's going to be like the most dramatic thing or the worst case scenario to try and get engagement and try and get likes.
I know. Yeah. And it's that hook that gets people in, and then you just end up worrying about it. Paddy, you answer the next one. Why is there slow weight loss during the first few weeks on 0.25 or 2.5 Mounjaro?
I love this question because it's so common and it's such a reassuring answer that we can give to people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's great.
When you are on a 2.5 milligram dose of Mounjaro, that is not intended for you to be losing weight. It is not intended for what you call a therapeutic dose. It is literally a starting dose. It is a dose that is essentially just saying to your body, hey, there's a new medication on its way. We're just getting you primed for it, but just hold tight for the moment. So it's not at the level for most people whereby it's going to cause enough suppression or fullness signals or that to kick in that kind of weight loss. So
yeah.
It is not intended to cause weight loss. What I'd say is, so you've said there, why is there slow weight loss? So that's indicating to me that maybe there has been some weight loss. So if you've seen some weight loss whilst you're in particularly that first 4 to kind of 8 week period of Mounjaro, you're already ahead of so many other people who've seen none whatsoever.
Yeah. And I get that all the time in my DMs as well. Yesterday, I had one girl, I spoke to her for ages, and she was, I think, on her 6th day, absolutely, her head was melted because she couldn't feel any side effects. And she said it herself, you just have to have patience. And then I have a friend of mine who started Mounjaro. I think, did she start it? Yeah, she started yesterday, and she woke up this morning, she couldn't eat anything. She felt like she'd eaten a roast dinner during her sleep. Yeah. There's, as I said earlier, every single physical body is different. Your biology is different, and these drugs will hit different every single time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Someone asked, can we ask questions? Absolutely. As I say, there's a little question. That's what we're here. Yeah, that's what we're here. Ask all the questions. Ideally, if you can use the question function, that would be brilliant at the bottom of the screen, I think it is, folks. It just makes it easier for us to keep track of. But if that's too complicated, just pop them in or drop me a DM. The next one is how to get moving from a weight loss stall on Ozempic. Belinda, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I couldn't manage it. I'll be really, really honest. I couldn't manage it at all. And I would have lost most of my big chunk of weight in the first 8 to 9 months, like nearly, say, 50 pounds. And then it got slower, another few pounds, another few pounds. And then when I hit like 60, it stopped. And that went on for months and months
Yeah.
and months and months, until now I was doing nothing different.
Yeah.
And I didn't think to myself, oh, maybe you do need to do something different. But I thought, well, I'm eating healthy, I'm doing all of my activities, what more can I do? And I just stayed in that kind of annoyance
Yeah.
for all that time until I reached out to Paddy, and went on Mounjaro.
Yeah.
And it has started going again, and it's brilliant. And I feel so much better now on Mounjaro than I ever did on Ozempic. These two medications, although they are both GLP1s, they're very different.
Yeah. And the other thing is that actually, what I was going to say actually is the other thing is Ozempic on label goes up to 1 milligram because of its originally intended use. The variation of Ozempic that is prescribed for fat loss that is not available in Ireland yet, again, is called Wegovy, and it actually goes up to 2.4 milligram. So that's the other thing.
Same medication.
It's the same, yeah. So in Ireland, we can't actually get the strongest dose that is intended to be prescribed as a therapeutic dose of Ozempic/Wegovy.
But even then, Paddy, I was killing myself trying to buy 2 pens, and it's too expensive, and it didn't work. And I felt like I was buying that pen, and I might as well have chucked it out the window.
So I'm conscious we probably have about 15 minutes if this live is going to cut out in an hour, okay? Now, it mightn't, folks, but when I was on Instagram chat, they were like, oh, maybe not. It could be a bug. Do you think the price will ever become more affordable over time so it can be more accessible?
I don't think so. If we compare ourselves to the States, they're paying $1,300 a month. Some places they're paying more, and we're like paying 150 odd euros. I don't think so. Yeah.
It's a tricky one, like, because basically the problem is that when a company manufactures a medication like this, they hold the license, the copyright on it for, like, I think it's like, I don't know, is it 10 or 15 years or 20, some ridiculous amount of time, which means nobody else can make that specific product until their copyright on it is up. Now, where there is hope that things could potentially be different is some of the new medications that are in clinical trials at the moment, that when they get released, they might come in at a slightly more competitive price than what's there at the moment.
But they are campaigning. They are campaigning for that in the States. They are. And I don't mean just people. I mean, their politicians are campaigning and asking questions why it's so expensive. Can I change the day I take my dose? Yes, you can do what you like.
So
your life.
So if you miss a dose of Mounjaro, so I'm reading this directly from Eli Lilly. If you miss a dose of Mounjaro, take the missed dose as soon as possible within 4 days after the missed dose. If it's been more than 4 days, skip that missed dose and take your next dose on the regularly scheduled day. Equally, do not take 2 doses of Mounjaro within 3 days of each other.
So
but
you can't, if you were doing it on a Tuesday and you wanted to change it to a Wednesday or a Thursday, that's okay. You can do that.
Like what I said, don't do that like every week or every few weeks, because then you're going to mess up the loading of the medication, because it's meant to titrate up week on week to a certain level based on the way it's been done. Week 7, just finishing my last 0.5 dose, 1 milligram on Saturday, and I'm noticing I'm hungry this week. I think on any of these type of medications, that can be very normal, particularly when it's getting near time for you to move up to the next strength. And that in itself is an indicator. It's potentially time for me to have a chat with my prescriber to see about moving up. Nothing there to worry about. Holidays on Mounjaro heading off next week. What I will say on that one is listen to the microdose, okay, on the podcast, because we cover that in more detail. So just look up the dose on anywhere where the podcasts are and you'll find it there. But the microdose in particular, that is one of the segments we'll put out.
Please remember, none of the information within this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Always consult your own personal GP and healthcare team before starting or changing any medical treatment.
When sick and no appetite at all, what's the best thing to eat on Ozempic? Know I should be eating something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you absolutely have to eat. You really do. And it's better to keep it plain, simple, and the less fat and sugar in it, the better. So I'm talking about like porridge or anything like that, or just, I don't know, Paddy, you're the food man. You tell me.
Yeah. So what I'd say is, again, like obviously the porridge is going to be great for fiber as well.
Yeah.
I'd say one of my favorite things is use protein milk on it. So you're getting some protein in. So again, just think protein and fiber. If you're really struggling though to eat, this is where some of the, particularly the clear whey proteins that taste just very like a diluting drink, can be really, really useful, because it's then like you're having a blackcurrant drink or an orange drink or whatever. So they can be a great little thing to have on standby as well. So
How much of that can you drink in a day, Paddy? Because I've been looking at it, and because I drink so much water, and I get tired of water, so I put in electrolytes and I put in vitamin D tablets or whatever.
Yeah.
But tell us about the clear whey protein.
So it would be the same as any other kind of protein food, essentially, in terms of like they'll typically contain, most protein foods will contain somewhere in the region of 15 to 25 grams of protein. Most of those types of foods that are marketed as protein foods. So I would say you could struggle to have 2 or 3 of them, because some of them need a lot of water to mix. But brilliant for hydration as well if you're getting that amount of water.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, I keep putting my phone down.
Okay. How to trust the process? Top tips.
Oh God.
I'm probably going to say that the not even tips, but the main thing you probably need to focus on there is your mental comfort with the process. Because if you can become comfortable with the process, it's hard.
It's hard. It's really hard, because, like, not so much for yourself, but when I started out and I had no guidance, I didn't know what was going on. I had nothing to kind of compare myself to then, even, what's supposed to be happening. But now we have so much information, and we have so many supportive people around that you can ask the questions.
Yeah.
It's just and the thing is as well, again, like I said earlier, sit with the changes, notice the small things, and really, revel in them, and your clothes, and
I think it comes back to what we were saying, like in the tips earlier on. What is your measure for success?
I just have to do
aside from the scales. What is your measure for success?
Yeah, that's a great question that everybody should be asking themselves. Where do you want to be? What do you want to get out of this? And nothing to do with weight loss. Don't say a number on the scales. If somebody said to you, what do you want from this?
Cool. So I'm conscious that we could get cut off in about 8 or 9 minutes. So we're going to do a quick fire round with these ones, okay? Lost 13 pounds on Mounjaro for 11 weeks. Amazing. Well done. 7.5 dose now. Sometimes I feel very hungry. Is this normal? Yes.
Absolutely.
The medication should not be providing you with full suppression 24/7.
Yeah.
We need to be using this journey to feel physical hunger, to feel physical fullness, so that we can understand our behaviors with food. So if you were telling me that you were never feeling hungry, I'd be concerned. But by the fact that you're saying you are getting, I'm wondering, is it again towards the end of the week, like maybe in those last 2 to 3 days of the week? Because again, that's normal.
Now, I will say as well that myself and my partner Sean, we take our medication at the same time, and tonight is our dose, and we are starving today.
Yeah,
starving, but then went to eat something and was full after about half of it, so that's good.
Okay. Is there whiskey in your sippy cup?
I know exactly who asked you that goddamn question. I know exactly who asked you that.
It was a question that was put in.
Debbie, you're dead.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
gonna go through some of these really quickly. Okay, if Ozempic is just maintaining your weight, should one keep taking it? Ooh, so
Well, I did.
yeah, the idea is that what endocrinologists have told me
Yeah.
is that when you get to a point whereby your weight is healthy, you will be on this medication in some form for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because if you stop taking it, those biological factors will still be there. And this is why we work on the behavioral factors to try and minimize, that and make that journey a bit easier. But what I'd say is that's not something, though, advice that myself or Belinda can give. That's something that your prescriber should be. Would need to give.
Again, as I said, I did stall for it for a long time. And when I used to get really, really annoyed about it, I used to have to dig deep to remember the other things that were happening, not the scales.
Yeah.
How my mental health was, how I didn't eat in secret anymore, and all of the rest of it that goes with it.
Yeah.
So, you do need to talk to your doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone said they're getting really constipated. Belinda,
Fiber. Yeah.
And
head over to my grid, and there's really good recipes over there.
Yeah.
For fiber drinks and stuff. Fiber.
And yeah, that's what I was going to say. And your hydration.
Yes.
As well.
Really.
If you're not hungry, should you force yourself to eat? Okay, great question. This is something I discussed with 2 different dietitians. Okay. And the answer was pretty much the same from both of them, in that if it's, say, breakfast time and you're not hungry, don't get too worried if you skip breakfast. If you're going throughout the day and you are still not eating, you need to eat. Your body still needs fuel. You still need protein, fiber, nutrients for your body. So it is important. It could also be an indication that perhaps you need to review your dosage with your prescriber if it's that strong that it's completely stopping you from eating, is what I'd say there.
Yeah.
Are my side effects coming from the timing of food when injecting? So we touched on side effects last week a little bit.
Say that question again, Paddy.
Yeah. Are my side effects coming from the timing of my food when injecting?
I don't know the answer.
So yeah, I mean, the timing of the medication doesn't come with guidance on having to be taken with food or without food. So the timing of food should not impact it. But on the bigger picture, your day-to-day lifestyle with food could be causing side effects. Yeah. So this is where I'd go back and look at that
last week.
Yeah. So have a look at last week's reel if you can, or the podcast, because we do touch on that a little bit more about side effects that could be useful there. But I would say, based on what we've seen from the prescribing conditions and stuff like that, I would not see it being linked to the food when injecting. What vitamins shall I get? I start my first jab tomorrow. This is one I know I asked the dietitian as well, and all I was told was get yourself a good A to Z.
Okay.
Literally a good A to Z, because then at least you know you're getting all your vitamins in.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Nice and simple. Should you focus on calorie counting initially, as the doctor says 800 calories maximum per day?
What?
I don't think that's enough for me. Your doctor is saying...
Are you sure she didn't miss out a one before that? Maximum.
So I'm going to put my personal trainer hat on.
Yeah, can you tell that girl to DM you?
If somebody, and again, look, I don't want to be going against the doctor's advice, but I would be curious to talk to that doctor. And bear in mind, doctors are not dietitians.
Yeah.
Doctors are general practitioners. They're not specialists. So I would strongly encourage you to ask for a referral to a dietitian or meet with a dietitian, because if, as a personal trainer, if someone was coming to me saying that I'm eating 800 calories a day trying to lose weight, I'd be like, whoa, no way, way too low. Yeah. Obviously I don't know, your weight, your height, all that kind of stuff.
Doesn't matter, Paddy, that's still not.
That's, 800 would sound very low.
Yeah. Yeah, too low.
Particularly if you're being told that's the maximum.
Yeah, particularly if you're an adult trying to live your life every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Trying to see if there are any more here. Someone said also love wine. Ooh, love wine too. Cool. Okay, well, Mounjaro is the best for controlling my A1C and my weight. Brilliant. That is great to hear.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Plateau after 91 pounds of loss. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Phenomenal. But still need to lose about 50. Any ideas to move the scales? Now, I'm aware we could get cut off in like 2 or 3 minutes. So, folks, if we do get cut off, we're going to hop right back in again. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, as I say, Instagram messed us up last week. We're meant to be able to stay live for 4 hours, but for some reason it cut us off after an hour. So if it does do that, we're going to hop straight back in here so you can come back in.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Just rejoin. Plateau. So first of all, 91 pounds loss.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Wow. Congratulations.
Right. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So this is where I would be looking at what is your intake of food like at the moment. What medication are you on?
Yeah.
Have you been on that medication only whilst you've lost that 91 pounds of loss? Could you review an alternative medication? Have you had a review with, your doctor or the endocrinologist or your dietitian? What is your movement like? Is there opportunity to mix up your movement?
Subject, Paddy.
It is.
There's so many other questions to be answered there as well,
Yeah.
And hopefully that person is able to take something away from this or the last podcast as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're up to date on the questions that have come in so far. But yeah, so what I'd say is like the plateau thing, and I think this could be a topic in its own right. But there's so many things that can influence a plateau, and again, it's perfectly normal. This is the other thing. Plateaus are perfectly normal. Like my weight loss, even since May, as I was saying, like I had a plateau there. Now, I appreciate it was only for like 5-ish weeks or so, but my mindset is this is going to happen. I just need to keep doing the things that I know I need to keep doing. Am I still being very on top of it with my movement, with my nutrition, with my sleep in particular. Sleep is so important for weight loss. Like people don't understand how important sleep is for weight loss.
But it also your sleep gets better.
Yeah.
The more weight you lose. Yeah.
I would have slept maybe 4 to 5 hours a night for years, the majority of my adult life. Yeah.
God, that's terrible.
Yeah, literally 4 to 5 hours a night would have been, and that would have been more than enough for me. Now, I could go to bed now after this 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I could sleep right through till 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Like,
Paddy, this is so past my bedtime, I could be asleep at 8 o'clock at night and not wake up till like 6:30 the next morning. I love
it. It's amazing.
Paddy, can I ask you a couple of questions actually?
Go for it, yeah. So like we've another hour.
Yeah, grand. So you have been on a couple of TV programs. Okay, so what was the first one and what age were you when you went on that? And tell us about it.
So the main one, I guess, kind of related to weight and stuff like that, would have been The Biggest Loser. So The Biggest Loser was a reality TV show. It was kind of like a bigger scale version of Operation Transformation, essentially. It was when I lived in the UK. I was... so that would have been, we filmed it 2010, so I would have been 28. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah, I think.
Sure,
yeah, we filmed it. Yeah, it was like 28 or 29 or something like that. So I was living in England, and I used to sit and watch The Biggest Loser USA. I used to be obsessed with Gillian Michaels and Bob Harper. And I would and that's a whole other actually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Anyway. I would have been sitting there watching The Biggest Loser, stuffing my face with pizza,
and just
thinking, yeah, but I would have been like, oh, like I'm fat, but I'm not that fat.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm just being honest. Like, that's really, and when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God. But then, anyway. My housemate at the time ended up applying for the show. He didn't tell me he applied. And for both of us. Yeah,
I
because
never told you, right?
they were looking for like friends or family or work colleagues or that kind of thing, people that knew each other to go on in pairs.
Yeah.
And we went through a number of different rounds of things.
Interviews?
Yeah, we had to go for interviews. So we had to go for an initial, like, God, I'd say, I don't know, maybe an hour, like telephone screening, maybe longer than an hour. Then we had to go for a casting call,
Right.
like for the cameras.
So let me ask you about that. What were they looking for from you to go on to their show? I obviously the obvious one, but what were they trying to?
The best way probably for me to answer that is The Biggest Loser and all similar kind of shows like that are typically sold as entertainment shows.
Right. Ah, okay. That makes a little bit
So
more sense.
essentially, they're going to be looking for people that they think will
Have the
um,
most
have,
pull for a TV audience.
have some reason to be interesting to people that are
Yeah.
watching.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I think that year as well, it had been sold to TV3, so they wanted an Irish element to it as well, and the same year after, Ger from down Limerick Way was on it, but yeah, so we had to go for that kind of casting call where you're on camera, they ask you loads of questions, and they take loads of videos off you and stuff like that. And then the next stage after that was that we had to go for a full day of medical and psychological evaluation in London. And that's where they tested so much stuff like about our health and our fitness to see were we psychologically stable to go on the show, to see would we be able for the show, and to determine what our kind of fitness and health levels were like.
Yeah. And was there anything, sorry, was there anything ever that they would have discussed with you at that stage about support around when you finished?
At that stage, no. At that stage, no.
Right.
So where something like that, we got, so this process kicked off, I think, in May. It was. And we got told the end of August, I think it was, that we were through.
Okay.
And I think it was end of August or start of September. It was meant to start in like 10 days or 2 weeks or something like that, filming. And we had to pack up and leave and basically vanish because we weren't allowed to tell anyone. We weren't allowed to tell anyone that we were doing this. Bar our family and our employer, because obviously we were going to have to take time off work, but we couldn't tell friends. Like, I literally vanished overnight for 2 months. And when I came back, the amount of like Facebook messages that, Paddy, are you okay? Like, are things okay? You haven't, like, I would have posted.
But were you not logging on to anything?
No, we'd no real contact with the outside world.
Where were you?
We were in just outside Rugby, up near Coventry, but it was very like Big Brotherish in that regard.
You were in a compound nearly.
Yeah, so we were in a big stately house up there, and so like the accommodation, everything was fantastic. The house was phenomenal now, and we had our purpose-built gym up there and all that kind of stuff. And we had to do 5 hours of exercise a day, and
oh my word,
6 days a week. We had to prepare all our own food. We had to do our shopping lists. We were up every morning at 6 o'clock. We normally didn't get to bed till like maybe after 10 because we were normally filming quite late during the night. So during the day, the way it would work is you go do your workout at 6 o'clock. Then the cameras might be there for that. You'd come home, you'd have breakfast, the cameras might be there for that. You'd go back to another workout with the trainers, the cameras would be there for that. You come back for lunch, then you'd go back over to the gym again, the cameras would be there for that. You come back for dinner, and then when dinner was over and you'd your like last workout done, then you had to record all the interview bits to camera. So throughout the day they were filming you doing your thing, whereas at night it was interviews that the producers were going through with you.
So 5 hours a day of training, what would you think now if somebody said you need to do that now and you should do that?
Like obviously I'd say you're crazy. Like,
yeah, but that's not that you can't. Do you feel well doing that? Like,
you do become accustomed to it because you're not doing anything else.
Yeah, right.
And like the way that it was kind of positioned is that it's for a short period of time, for a long-term gain.
Yeah.
Or that was the whole
premise. Yeah.
So Now there was actually one really funny part. So every so often we had to meet with a doctor. This still causes me to laugh so much. We had to meet with a doctor, right? Every so often during the filming of the show over the 8 weeks. Now I say 8 weeks because I was there, and I was convinced, absolutely convinced, that this doctor was fake and that he was only there as a television doctor for the filming. I was convinced of this, and I was saying it every time I come out. I was like, he's not a real doctor. Like, I was convinced of it. And like, I'd say I was probably a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if I was a bit dismissive at times. I was like, this isn't a real doctor.
Did you
like,
check him out when you finished?
huh?
Did you check him
Yes.
out? And
Yeah.
was he?
He was one of the leading obesity specialists in the UK. Dr. Ian Campbell, who was...
He's going over to bed every night calling him a quack.
Oh, like such a lovely man. And like he's literally one of the leading obesity specialists in the UK.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. It was one of the first, when I got my phone back, it was one of the first things I done after logging into Facebook and seeing all the message stuff. Are you dead? Like, where are you?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I have to find out, is Ian Campbell a real doctor? And then he was a very much so a real doctor.
Yeah.
But it's because we were being brought over to a barn that had a makeshift doctor's office made in it.
So that didn't help.
It was like a set. It was a doctor's set. So I think maybe that skewed, and but anyway, it was quite funny that he was very much a real doctor.
So when you were going through all that and you were training 5 times a day, and obviously you weren't eating food that you would have been used to or whatever, how, like, emotionally, how did that, and your mental health, how did that
so we had a psychologist that we had access to anytime we needed. Anytime there was a psychologist there, or a therapist, absolutely anytime we could meet with her if we needed to. And on week 2, I was ready to pack it all in, and I told them that I wanted to go home because I'd never gone that long without speaking to my family. Because I was living in England, so I rang my mum every single day. Yeah. So to have gone like 10 days or whatever it was, and to not having spoken to anyone from my family, I was like, this is crazy. I can't do this. So it wasn't actually the training or the food or anything whatsoever. Like, the food was actually class.
Sick.
It was just, I miss my family here. And like, it had gotten to the extent where they're like, we will get you a taxi in the morning. Like, that's where it had gone to. And then one of the trainers, who I think I mentioned before, Angie Dowds, who unfortunately passed away through suicide later on that year, we became extremely close friends during the filming. And she came in, she told the cameras, get out. So it wasn't just for telly. She told the cameras, get out, that she wanted to talk to me privately. She came in, had a chat with me, helped me kind of rationalize things, kind of prioritize myself and put myself first, and this kind of stuff. And I decided to stay then, that I kind of stick with it.
And glad that you did.
Oh, absolutely. God, yeah. Like the following week, and I don't think it's any coincidence, so every week you had a challenge that you had to do. And the challenge the following week was, there's this Spinnaker Tower in England, in southern England, that we had to basically race up it, and the people that raced up it and won got I can't remember, was it like letters from home? Yeah, letters from home, or a phone call, or that. There was different weeks that we got different things, and like that just meant the world to me. Like,
brilliant. And looking back on it now, what do you, especially looking back at such a younger version of yourself, do you ever regret doing it, or do you think to yourself, I'm so glad I did that, it was a catalyst for so many more things, good things in your life?
Belinda, life absolutely would not be what it is today if that episode of my life hadn't happened, for so many reasons. And if I had the opportunity to go away for like 8 weeks and do that again, I would jump at it in the morning.
Oh, Paddy, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
if I could.
I would jump. Yeah, I would. I have to say. But then I know, because I think you were curious, well, to know about, like, was there aftercare or stuff like that?
That's my biggest kind of question as well, because There's
So
horror stories out there, Paddy, you know?
there is, and I think particularly this week again kind of goes to show the importance of
Yeah,
people that have been on
my
reality
God.
TV shows and that.
Yeah.
Um, we had access to that therapist for, so basically when you sign your contract with the production company, you're entering into a 5-year contract, and that 5-year contract basically kind of limits somewhat what kind of brand deals you can do, what companies you work with, all that kind of stuff, because I'm guessing they want to protect the brand of The Biggest Loser and make sure you're not going to go off suddenly like endorsing Weight Watchers or something like that when that isn't how you lost your weight. And
Yeah.
I get it. Now, in fairness, I got to work with quite a number of brands afterwards. They never had an issue with anything I done.
Right.
They were extremely encouraging and supportive of
You
me.
have to check with them?
I did for the first few, and then they kind of got, Paddy,
You're
you've your head, you've your head in your shoulders. We trust you, like, so
Yeah.
you're okay. But part of that contract as well was that we had access to a therapist for a year after the show.
okay. That's great.
Now, what I'd say is, in that moment in time, you don't realize you need a therapist,
Yeah.
and it's actually the exact time you need one, because you're like, I'm thin, I'm fixed.
I'm young.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Never fixed.
if I had the foresight, if that's even the word, to kind of lean in then and kind of say, hey, I want to continue working on this mindset and my relationship with food. Who knows maybe
Could
what
have got
things
so
could be.
much more out of it,
Yeah.
really, couldn't you? But look, it is what it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, and you were young.
Yeah.
If you were given a therapist for a year now, you'd be delighted. Like, you think it's Christmas, you know?
Yeah. All paid for everything,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah. And so no regrets. Definitely delighted you
Yeah.
did it.
Definitely delighted I did it. And then like I think I
Hi, girl.
put up a
Yeah, my friend just jumped on there.
I got it. I put up a story before about how when I started regaining the weight, that I stopped doing a lot of the television stuff that I had been getting. Like TV3 were phenomenal to me with giving me work to do back in the day, for Ireland AM, and
You were a personal trainer on
Ireland AM.
Yeah.
And I stopped saying yes to things then because I was so self-conscious of the fact that I was regaining the weight.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time as well, there was actually a production company that were putting a pilot together on like a health and well-being program for younger people, and they had said that as part of the pilot, would I be interested in actually being like the presenter of that, and I said yes. Now, it never got commissioned in the end, and I was so feckin' grateful because I don't know how I would have dealt with that anxiety of knowing that I'd put weight on and then ending up in that situation.
And having all of that worry around it as well.
I remember even with the TV3 stuff, and I kept some of these tweets. I don't know why I kept them, but I did. Like when I did the TV3 stuff, like Twitter, we know what Twitter can be like, but some of the comments at that stage, even then from people, were quite nasty about, oh, you know, he's no role model to be on there. Like, look at the size of him still and stuff like that. And bear in mind, I was 14 and a half stone at 6 foot. And people were still nasty to me then.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's awful, Paddy.
Yeah.
Awful. And you know, I've turned down stuff as well. And like when I started this out first, I was invited to go up to RTE and be part of a chat show. And I've been turning everything down for the past year. And the last thing I turned down is going to be the last thing I turn down, because I am just kicking myself. You know what I'm talking about. Just unreal. Like, but you get over that, don't you?
Yeah. So like this year, 2 television opportunities came to me, and
you've done the 2 of them so already, though, haven't you? You filmed for both of them.
Yeah. And like I did think about it because it's like, oh, okay. There's a difference with putting things out on social media because I can control the narrative somewhat. And that's not to say I hide stuff. I definitely don't. I definitely am very honest. But when you're doing something for another company, you don't know the narrative. And that's something I was very aware of. Now, both of the programs that I done, appeared very genuine. One in particular, I had such a phenomenal experience doing it. The first one I think is going to be out this side of Christmas. I'm nearly certain it's going to be out this side of Christmas, and it's I think a smaller piece. And then the one that is going to be out in January is over a 2-part program. It's not just me on it. I might only be on one part of it. I don't know, but that was a really empathetic experience for me, really compassionate, really just, looked after me really well, I felt.
Yeah, just showing how it is. Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So it's a yes to everything then, Paddy, from now on.
Definitely. Definitely. I think, do you know what?
Yeah.
I think we're both quite lucky, you on Instagram, me probably a bit more so on TikTok. That we get to potentially try and help somebody feel better about their day.
Yeah. That's the only reason I started doing any of this, because when it started working for me, because I know how bad things can get when you are carrying weight and you can't do anything about it, and I don't know how I could have ever walked around and kept this to myself, I can't keep that to myself anyway.
But yeah, I think, and I think, I do always feel very privileged when people ask me questions that they think that I'm somebody that is worth going to, and I'm sure, you're the same. It's definitely something that I don't take for granted, and that's why every single DM, no matter if I get like 30, 40 in a day, I reply to every single one of them. And I would say 99% of comments I reply to. There's 1% I don't, for a reason. But the 99% of them, I will always reply to if someone looking for help. If it's somebody, I've gotten a bit better at this now. I used to do this, but if somebody was replying to somebody else in a thread or something and giving them wrong information, I've started stepping in to try and give more accurate information. So I do, and actually help the person that's originally looking for help, because there's nothing worse than getting wrong information from people. Now, I'm not saying I know it all, but
especially on this subject and with these medications as well. Like you really have to be careful, who you're listening to. Absolutely.
But was there any other questions, or is that the grilling on TV?
Was that the only weight loss program that you were on? Did you do something else?
I didn't. This is not something I spoke about, actually.
Are you sure? Or maybe it was when I was stalking you.
So, and I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I haven't spoke about this as part of this journey. Because my main following on my TikTok and Instagram is female, predominantly female. Like
6% of my following is male.
I think I'm probably not far off that as well. So, but maybe we did touch on this last week. I can't remember. But basically, back in 2011, I had surgery after I lost all the weight. And I was 14.5 stone. The one part of my body that still was failing me was my chest, whereby I had full-on breasts that I could have gone in and I easily could have done with a sports bra. And what I'd say is that, and it's called gynecomastia. Gynecomastia, whilst common in people who are overweight, is not only with people that are overweight. And you can see the fittest of fellas in the gym that have gynecomastia as well.
I've seen it, and I've seen television programs about it as well, and that they get breast cancer as well.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize that the men can get breast cancer. So, I was living with this, and I was like, oh God. I went privately to get a quote to see how much would it cost to get surgery, because they had said, look, this is breast tissue. No matter how much weight you lose, this is not going to shift for you. It's not. This isn't something you're going to lose in a calorie deficit. So I went and got a price, and I was like, I just moved home from England. I was working kind of part-time. I was studying to be a personal trainer. I did not have the money, like thousands, to pay for it.
Do that,
But then I got a phone call saying, hey, RTE are doing a show called The Perfect Irishman.
Never.
And
we haven't spoken about it.
Okay, we haven't. Okay. They're doing they're making a show called The Perfect Irishman. It's with Joe Shea, and they're looking at kind of male health and beauty and body image and stuff like that, would you have a chat with them? And I was like, I don't know. So I sat with it for a while, spoke to my sister and some people about it. And basically, what they said was, we're really interested in following the journey of somebody that is suffering from gynecomastia and going for the surgery, and we will pay for it.
Stop. Pick
Yeah.
me. Wow.
Yeah.
Did that just, that was just serendipitous?
Yep.
A happy coincidence?
Yeah. So it was the same weekend that Rihanna played in Dublin, because I remember going to see her and she was shocking bad in 2011. Shocking bad. But anyway, so I said yes, I would do it. We did a load of filming for that with Joe O'Shea down in Dunleary, I think we filmed, and in Donnybrook, and then we did the filming in Wicklow. And I was so nervous. But then when I went in for the surgery, you're like drugged up to your eyeballs on painkillers. So like they're in filming the surgery, like the everything happening and
You're
stuff
off
like
your rocker.
I was asleep for that bit, but when I woke up, like I was off my rocker, like not a clue what was going on, and cameras in your face and stuff like that.
No.
Like not having a clue. But it was again, in fairness to RTE, they looked after me really well. It was a very positive experience. Joe Shea was a dream to, and the producer were really nice to work with.
Were they just following you then? Were you the only person that they were doing this with?
So they had other men that were doing other bits related to health or wellness. But yeah, I know, maybe would there have been 4 of us maybe or something like that they're following? I can't remember.
Do you have clips of this? You probably don't you?
I don't.
Oh.
I don't.
That's unfortunate. You could find them though, Paddy?
Because I don't know, like I wrote to RTE once asking could I have a copy, and they said they couldn't help. Not that they didn't have it, but they wouldn't release it from the archives because they only release stuff for certain things.
TV and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a Perfect Irishman with Joe O'Shea, and but like that idea of gynecomastia, like the surgery there, again, that is something that should be covered for men that have it, because it causes so much anxiety and depression and stress for men in relation to body image, and again, not just people that are overweight. And like
it's so common as well.
Oh, like I couldn't stop looking at myself. Like I remember when I first got off the bandages and like the bruising was shocking, but then I was like, oh my god, where's my chest gone?
But it was tissue that they removed and not fat.
It was like full on handfuls. Like,
wow.
Like I'd say made many a woman jealous with how big they were. Like it was crazy.
Paddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you look back at that and you think to yourself, you're obviously so glad you did that.
And you know what? That has been one of the things that I've been most afraid of when I started regaining weight. Was I suddenly going to regain that chest again? That was.
Did you?
No. Like there's, like I'd say there's some fat in the chest, like a little bit, but like not. I'm trying to see if I can get a picture here to show. Not to the extent of
what you had previous.
Of what I had before. Like this is a bit blurry, but let's see if I can show this.
Can you share your screen? Oh yeah.
Like proper.
Wow.
So that was me before Biggest Loser.
Before. Right. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just losing my phone here. But yeah, so like, you know, I say what I have now is not that. Well, I put a video up the other day actually and I took my top off. Oh god, which
that was
I never
brilliant.
Yeah, I never do that. But anyway, so yeah, definitely thank God it didn't
reproduce itself.
It didn't come back, yeah.
Good. Did we have a couple of questions coming?
Someone said, hey guys, sorry I'm late, it was working, still am. I told Jess that I have reversed my type 2 diabetes.
Brilliant.
I'm so happy. I've lost 6 stone, last stone with the help of Ozempic. Oh my god, that is phenomenal. You reversed your type 2 diabetes.
That's amazing.
And again, that is not something a number on a scale will ever reflect, like in terms of that health marker. And that's what I'm saying. Like there's things that are so much more important than a number on a scale. It's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. And there's another lady there as well. She said that she's at her GP tomorrow, and she had a hysterectomy 12 months ago, and he prescribed her Saxenda, but I can't get it because he's a GP and not a consultant. Should I ask him to prescribe me Ozempic or Mounjaro? GPs can.
Doctor can write a prescription for,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And Ozempic, not Mounjaro. Well, they should, but they won't.
Yeah.
That's, I don't,
it doesn't.
I'll be questioning that.
Yeah, the prescription does not need to come from a consultant.
Yeah.
That definitely doesn't. So again, this one I'm saying, it could be worth maybe getting more context on why does your doctor think it has to come from the consultant, unless it's something
that even.
Yeah. Is it that the doctor doesn't feel the expert in the area following the surgery or that, and that they're thinking, I want a consultant to do it? Could it be something like that?
Yeah. That's it. That's all the questions I can see. Paddy, we're hitting 10:30.
Yeah. Let's will we wrap it up there?
Yeah. That was really good. My microphone didn't work at all the whole time.
Okay. Someone's saying the pharmacist wouldn't fill it. Lynn, the pharmacist wouldn't fill what? Is that the same?
Yeah, it's the same lady. Yeah. The pharmacist. Yeah. The pharmacist wouldn't give you
Saxenda. Is it?
Yeah, I would definitely be questioning that, because Saxenda is what it is. No pharmacist can ever say no to that. They have said no to giving people Ozempic, but certainly not Saxenda.
But the only thing I can think of there why a pharmacist would say no to Saxenda is if they know your other medical history, if that's where you get your medication and there's potential interaction with another medication you're on.
No, because she said I'm presuming that it's the pharmacist is looking for the prescription to be from a consultant and not your GP. Is that right? I haven't heard of that at all, ever. Yeah. Maybe try another chemist.
Yeah. Very random.
Yeah. Yeah.
But folks,
she said yes, that was the reason. Yeah.
No.
Linda.
No. They're fobbing you off there, because for a prescription to be valid, there's a number of things, and this is outlined on Citizens Information as well, that you can go and check for a prescription to be valid. So, and if it's from a doctor, your prescription is valid.
Yeah. So get a second opinion.
Yeah. Go to a different pharmacy.
Yeah.
But folks, I just want to give a shout out to our podcast again before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay? I would love, so myself and Belinda, we put up last week's live stream. Going to try and do our best with this one as well to get it up over the next few days. Just takes me a little bit of time to edit them. But we would love, if you went to whether it's Spotify or whether it's Apple Podcasts or Amazon, or wherever there's and just follow our podcast called The Dose.
Yeah.
Okay, so
just follow it.
it.
And share it and tell people about it. Word of mouth. Get it out there.
Yeah. We'd really, really appreciate it, because we really love trying to help people as much as we can. Again, we're not getting paid for any of this. We've no collaborations or anything. This is literally just
we just want people to know the rights of things, and hopefully we are kind of reaching people that need to be reached.
Yeah.
And giving people the opportunity to go and advocate for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing that would really help us is if you are following, and if you do listen to whether it's the microdose that is up there or whether it's the full dose that's up there, if you can
what's coming next is the double dose.
The double dose. We're going to have something, we haven't fully fleshed that one out, but we're going to have the double dose as well in there somewhere. But it would really help us as well if you can do a review. So on both Spotify and Apple, they let you pick stars or ratings or stuff, and it would mean a lot to us.
My bestest and oldest friend in the world. Hi, Lou. She's from Cornwall. Bless her. Thanks a million for this evening.
Thanks.
That's very thoughtful. Guys, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. So glad. Get on the podcast.
Yes.
Click follow.
And I said the recording of the first bit is probably already up, or it's processing or something, because I did post it straight away. This one will be up in a few minutes after this as well. So if you've missed any of this, you can watch it back. I will get it up on the podcast as well, so you can listen back, and we will get a microdose, a snippet of some of the bits up as well. We will get another live done sometime over the next kind of maybe 10 days or something like that. Thank you so much for your support. And
No
Belinda,
worries. Thanks a million, guys. Thanks, Paddy.
thanks, Belinda. You little star, you. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Please remember, none of the information within this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Always consult your own personal GP and healthcare team before starting or changing any medical treatment.